1. Introduction. My name is Sarah. I am 24 years old. Before all this started, my life felt very normal, very simple. I lived in a quiet town and worked as a waitress in a small, friendly restaurant. I did not have big, exciting plans for my future. My dreams were simple ones. I always thought about having a nice, quiet life. I imagined a small house, maybe with a little garden for flowers. I hoped to find a kind husband, someone good to share my life with. Maybe later we could have 1 or 2 children. That sounded like a happy life to me. I sometimes read books or watched films. The love stories in them are often very difficult. They are full of big problems, sad moments, and hard choices. I watched them, but I never wanted a love story like that for myself. I really hoped my own love story would be easy, happy, and simple. I wanted a calm life, not a complicated one. But life does not always give you what you plan or hope for. Things can change very fast. One day, a man came into my life. His name was Will. He first came into the restaurant where I worked. He was just a customer then, but soon he became much more. Meeting him changed everything for me. My simple life, my easy dreams, they all started to become different after Will arrived. He made me feel new things, exciting things, but also difficult things. My path became complicated very fast. This is my story. It is not the simple story I dreamed of. It is about love, yes, but also about big secrets and pain. It is about a very hard choice I needed to make all by myself. This is the story of how my life changed completely, forever. 2. A new man. I work in a small restaurant near the center of town. It is called the Corner Cafe. My job is a waitress. I take orders from people and bring them their food and drinks. It is not a difficult job, but sometimes my feet hurt because I stand for many hours. I meet many different people every day. Most customers are nice. They eat their meal, pay their bill, and then they leave. Some people come to the restaurant very often. I know their names, and I often know what food they like to order. One Friday evening, a new man came into the restaurant. His name was Will. After that first visit, he started coming every Friday, always around 7 o'clock in the evening. He usually chose the same table, the one near the window. From the first moment I saw him, I thought he was very handsome. He had dark hair and kind, friendly blue eyes. He always wore nice clothes, maybe a suit from an office job. He looked smart and maybe a little bit important. Will was different from many other customers. He was always very polite and kind. He always said please when he ordered and thank you when I brought his food or drink. And he smiled a lot. His smile was warm and genuine, and it always made me feel happy inside. He never complained about the food or the service, not even once. He just seemed like a really nice, gentle person. Some customers can be loud or want everything very fast. Will was quiet and patient. He often read a book while he waited for his meal. At first, Will did not talk very much. He just ordered his food, smiled, and read his book. But after maybe 2 or 3 weeks, he started talking to me a little more each time he came. He asked my name one evening. I told him it was Sarah. He remembered it. Every Friday after that, he asked about my week. "How was your week, Sarah?" he would ask with his nice smile. We talked about simple things like the weather or a movie I watched. Our small talks became a little longer each week. He told me a little about his work, but not many details. He listened carefully when I talked, like he was really interested. I started to look forward to Fridays very much. Seeing Will became the best part of my work week. When he smiled at me, my heart felt warm and fuzzy. I felt something special growing when we talked. It was more than just being friendly like with other regular customers. It felt like a real connection between us. I did not know much about his life outside the restaurant. I did not know if he had a girlfriend or a family. But I started to hope that he was single. I liked him very much. He was the new man always in my thoughts. 3, our first night. It was late one Tuesday evening. The restaurant was almost empty. My feet hurt after a long shift. I finished cleaning the last table. I wanted to go home and rest, but then I saw Will. He was still sitting at his favorite table by the window. He usually left earlier. Tonight was different. He was alone and very quiet. He wasn't reading or looking at his phone. He just looked out the window at the dark street. He did not have his usual big smile. He looked serious, maybe a little sad. It was strange to see him like this. He always seemed so happy and full of energy when he talked to me before. I walked near his table to collect the salt and pepper shakers. He looked up. His eyes looked tired. "Sarah," he said, his voice was low. "Do you have a minute? Can we talk?" My shift was over, and my boss, Mr. Henderson, was locking the front door. "Sure, Will," I said. "Let me just get my coat." Mr. Henderson said it was okay for me to stay a few more minutes while he finished in the back office. I sat down in the chair opposite Will. The restaurant was quiet now. Only the soft hum of the big refrigerator could be heard. Will sighed. He looked down at his hands on the table. "I don't usually talk about this stuff," he started slowly. "But I feel really lonely sometimes, Sarah, like my life is stuck." He looked up at me again. "I have things, you know, a life, but sometimes I feel so empty inside, unhappy." Hearing him say this surprised me. He always seemed so confident. I felt sorry for him. It made me see a different Will, not just the handsome, friendly customer. It made me feel closer to him somehow. I did not say much. I just listened. I think that's what he needed, someone to listen. We talked for a long time. He spoke about feeling lost, and I listened quietly. I told him a little about my simple dreams, the ones I wrote about earlier. He listened too. It felt nice, comfortable, like we understood each other. The clock on the wall ticked quietly. 1 hour passed, then maybe 2. Mr. Henderson had gone home. It was just us in the dim light of the closed restaurant. Finally, I knew I had to leave. "It's really late, Will. I should go," I said softly. I stood up, and he stood up too. We were standing quite close. He looked down at me. His eyes were dark and serious. Then very suddenly he reached out. His hand touched my cheek gently. My heart jumped. Before I could think, he leaned down and kissed me. It was soft and quick, but it felt like a shock. Everything stopped for a second. He moved back slowly. He just looked at me, his expression hard to read. He didn't smile, and he didn't say sorry. My face felt hot. My heart was beating like a drum. Ba-dum, 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 I couldn't speak. What did this mean? He just told me he was unhappy, and now this? That kiss changed the feeling between us. I knew it. Something new started that night. I just didn't know what it was. His secret life. After our first kiss, I felt happy. I thought maybe Will and I could have a real relationship. But a few days later, everything changed. We met after my work. We walked to a quiet park nearby. Will stopped walking. He looked very serious. His face was sad. He took my hands. "Sarah," he said softly, "I must tell you something. It is very important." My stomach felt strange. I was nervous. "What is it, Will?" I asked. He looked down for a moment, then looked into my eyes. "I am married, Sarah, married." The word felt heavy and cold. I could not believe it. Married? Why did he kiss me? Why did he spend so much time with me? I felt a sharp pain in my chest. My eyes started to fill with tears. "You are married?" I whispered. It was hard to say the word. "Why didn't you tell me before?" He held my hands tighter. "Please listen, Sarah. My marriage is not happy. My wife and I, we live separate lives. We live in the same house, but we are like strangers. It has been like this for years." He told me he was very lonely. He said I made him feel happy again. He said his feelings for me were real. I did not know what to think. I felt shocked and very hurt. He kept a big secret from me. A part of me wanted to run away, to never see him again. But another part still felt connected to him. My feelings for Will were strong. I liked him so much. I wanted to believe him. I wanted to believe that his marriage was really over, even if they still lived together. I knew it was wrong. My mind told me this was a bad situation, but my heart did not listen. I still wanted to be with him, so we started a secret life together. We could not meet like normal couples. We had to hide. We met in quiet places where people would not see us. Sometimes we drove out of town and sat in his car, just talking. Other times we found small cafes on streets nobody knew. We walked in parks late at night when it was dark. Being with him felt good, but I always felt worried. I was always looking around, scared someone might see us together. I felt happy when I was with Will, but I also felt guilty. I knew I was doing something wrong. I was helping him keep a secret from his wife, but I kept hoping. Will told me he loved me. He said he wanted a future with me, not his wife. I believed him. I told myself he just needed time to leave her. I hoped every day that he would choose me. I dreamed we could stop hiding and be a normal couple. I just needed to wait, I thought. He would leave her soon, I was sure of it. 5, big news for us. One morning, I woke up feeling strange. I felt sick. This happened again the next day and the day after that. I started to worry. What was wrong with me? I thought about the last few weeks with Will. We tried to be careful, but maybe we were not careful enough. My heart started beating very fast. Could it be true? I went to the pharmacy after my work finished. My hands were shaking when I paid for the small box. I went home and walked straight to the bathroom. I read the instructions carefully, maybe 3 times to be sure. Then I took the test. Waiting for the answer felt like many hours, but it was only a few minutes. I closed my eyes tightly before I looked. When I opened them, I saw the lines on the test. There were 2 lines. Positive. My legs felt very weak. I had to sit down on the floor. Pregnant. I was going to have a baby. Will's baby. So many feelings came to me at the same time. I felt scared. Very, very scared. How could this happen now? What was I going to do? My life was already difficult because Will was married. Now there was a baby coming. A small part of me felt something different too, something like hope. Maybe this baby would change everything between us. Maybe this news would make Will finally leave his wife. Maybe he would choose me and our baby. But the feeling of fear was much bigger than the feeling of hope. I was only 24 years old. I worked as a waitress in a restaurant. How could I take care of a baby by myself? What if Will did not want the baby? What if he left me completely? I cried for a long time, sitting alone on the bathroom floor. I knew I needed to tell Will soon. I could not keep this big secret inside me. It was too important. It was about both of us now, and about a new, small life. I waited until the next time we met. We went to our usual secret place, a quiet park outside the city. My hands felt cold, but it was not a cold day. I could not look at his face when I started to speak. "Will," I said, my voice was very quiet. "I need to tell you something very important." He looked at me and waited for me to continue. I took a test this morning," I said slowly. "I'm pregnant." I finally looked up to see his reaction. His eyes opened very wide. He looked shocked, and then he looked worried. Very worried. He did not smile at all. He did not hug me or hold my hand. He just stood there for a moment, and his face looked pale. My small feeling of hope started to go away. Was he angry with me? Was he going to leave me now? He put his hand through his hair. Then he looked back at me. "Pregnant," he asked quietly, like he did not believe the word. I just nodded my head. Tears started to come into my eyes again. He took a deep breath. "Okay," he said slowly. "Okay, don't worry, Sarah." He tried to sound calm, but I could see the worry deep in his eyes. "We will handle this. I will handle this. I promise you. I need some time to think about it, but I will support you. I won't leave you alone with this problem." His words said one thing, but his worried face said something else. He looked very scared. I wanted to believe his promise, but a cold feeling stayed inside my heart. 6 empty words. Weeks passed after I told Will about our baby. Then 1 month passed, then 2 months. I waited every day. My phone was always near me. I hoped he would call and say, "I did it, Sarah. I left her. We can be together now." But that call never came. He was still married. He still lived in his house with his wife. Nothing changed in his life, but my life was changing fast. My body was changing. The baby was growing inside me, a constant reminder of him and his promise. Will started to call me less often. Before, he called me every day, sometimes 2 times a day. Now maybe he called once a week. Sometimes more than a week passed with no word from him. When we did talk, his voice sounded different. It was not warm and kind like before. It sounded tired or maybe bored. He stopped visiting me too. Our secret meetings in quiet places stopped completely. He always had a reason. "I'm very busy at work," he said one time. Another time, "My wife is watching me closely. It's too dangerous." His favorite words were always, "I need more time, Sarah. Please try to understand. It's very difficult right now." More time? How much more time did he need? He promised. When I told him about the baby, he looked worried, but he promised he would handle it. He promised he would be there for me and the baby. But his promises felt like empty words now. Just sounds with no real meaning, like wind blowing through trees. My heart hurt so much every day. It felt heavy, like a big stone inside my chest. I cried many nights, alone in my small room. I held my stomach where our baby was growing. I felt so stupid and naive. How could I believe his sweet words? He had a wife. He had a whole other life. Maybe I was just a fun distraction for him, someone to make him feel better when he felt lonely or unhappy at home. I felt so terribly alone. Going to work at the restaurant was hard. I tried to smile at customers, but inside I was breaking. I could not tell my family about Will or the baby yet. I was too scared of their disappointment, their anger. My friends noticed I was sad, but I could not tell them the real reason. So I kept my big secret. It was a heavy secret to carry all by myself, every single day. Every day, I felt the baby move a little more. It was a small comfort, a reminder that I was not truly alone. But it also reminded me of Will and his broken promises. His words played again and again in my head. "I'll handle it. I need more time. They were just empty words. He was not handling anything. He was just running away from the problem. And I was left here, alone, pregnant, and with a heart that felt broken into many small pieces. I looked at my reflection in the mirror. My stomach was bigger now. It was real. The baby inside me was real. But Will's love, it felt like a bad dream I was finally waking up from. A sad, difficult dream that left me feeling lost. 7, I am strong now. I looked at my belly. It was growing bigger. Will's promises were empty words. He did not call me anymore. He did not visit. I felt very alone. But I had a big choice to make. It was a difficult decision. I thought about the baby inside me. This baby was real and part of me. It was not the baby's fault that things were bad. I decided then I would keep my baby. It was my choice, not Will's choice. Waiting for Will only made me feel sad and weak. I needed strength now. I needed to be strong for my child. The first step was hard. I had to stop thinking about Will. I took his number out of my phone. I did not answer calls from numbers I did not know. My heart felt pain, but I knew it was the right thing. It was necessary for me and my baby. When I wanted to call him, I looked at the ultrasound picture from my doctor. The picture showed my tiny baby. Seeing the baby helped me. It reminded me why I needed to be strong. I told myself, he is not in our life now. I stopped waiting near the phone. I stopped hoping he would call. I started to think about my future, our future together. My job as a waitress did not pay much money. I needed more money. A baby needs many things. So I started looking for a new job. It was not easy. Some places wanted people with more skills, but I kept trying. I did not give up hope. I practiced how to talk in interviews. I wrote my work information clearly. After some weeks, I found a job in an office. It was simple work. I helped with papers and answered the phone. The money was better than the restaurant job. It was a good start. I began to save some money every week for baby clothes and for a safe home. Telling my family about the baby was the most difficult thing. I was very afraid. When I told them, they were very upset at first. My mother cried. My father was quiet and looked angry. They asked many questions about Will. They were sad I did not tell them before. It was a bad conversation. But they are my family. After a few days, my mother came and hugged me. She told me, "We are worried about you, Sarah, but we will help you." My father started to speak to me again, too. He said he would support my choice. Knowing my family supported me made me feel much stronger. They started to help me prepare. My sister said she could help me care for the baby sometimes. My life began to feel different. It was not the simple life I wanted before I met Will. This new life was more difficult, but it was my life now, and I was making the choices. I worked hard at my new office job. I continued to save money. I started reading books about how to care for a baby. I began to prepare my small apartment for the baby's arrival. I bought a small bed called a crib. I painted one wall a bright, happy yellow color. Sometimes I still felt sad about Will. Sometimes I felt scared about the future, but I did not feel weak like before. I was doing this for my baby and for myself. I was building our new life one step at a time. I learned I could be strong by myself. 8. My life, my choice. Months passed quickly. My baby was born. It was a beautiful little girl. I called her Lily. Holding her felt like the best thing in the world. My life was busy with Lily. I worked at my new job, and my family helped me a lot. I did not think about Will much anymore. I was tired most days, but I was happy. One afternoon, I walked home from work. Suddenly, I saw a man near my apartment building. It was Will. My heart jumped. I felt surprised and a little scared. What did he want now? He saw me and walked closer. "Sarah," he said quietly, "can we please talk?" I stopped. I looked at him. He looked different, maybe sadder. "What do you want, Will?" I asked. My voice was calm. I was not the same girl he knew. "I left her, Sarah," he said quickly. "I finally left my wife for good." He looked into my eyes. "I want to see the baby, our baby. I want to be a father." I listened. Part of me felt confused. Was he telling the truth? Could I believe him? He hurt me so much, but I was not weak anymore. I learned a lot in the past months. I learned to be strong for myself and for Lily. I looked at him again. He waited for my answer. "Okay, Will," I said slowly. "We can talk. One last time. Meet me tomorrow at the park, 3 o'clock. I needed to tell him my decision. The next day, I went to the park. Will was there on a bench. I walked towards him. I felt strong. I knew what I had to say. "Hello, Will," I said. He stood up. "Sarah, thank you for coming." We stood in silence for a moment. "I meant what I said," he started nervously. "I want to be part of her life. Our daughter's life." I took a deep breath. "Will," I said calmly, "I heard you, but things are different now. When I needed you, you were not there. You made promises, but you broke them." His face looked sad. "I know I made mistakes," he began. "No, Will," I stopped him gently. "Listen, I kept our baby. I built a new life for us. I did it alone. I found my own strength. Maybe you helped me find it, but I don't need you now." I looked him straight in the eye. "Lily and I have a good life. It's simple, but it's ours. You are not part of it. That is my choice." Will did not say anything for a long time. He looked down, then he nodded slowly. "Okay, Sarah," he whispered. "I understand." He turned and walked away. I watched him go. I did not feel sad. I felt free. I made the right choice for me and my daughter. Being a single mother was not easy, but it was my life. I was proud of myself. I was strong, and I was ready for the future with Lily. My life was not the simple dream I had before, but it was real, and it was mine.